Well, hi everybody. 30 years ago today, we started operations at Bartercard on the Gold Coast. Those of you who don't know much of the history, well, I'm not going to try and give it all to you, but I can say that I'm very proud of what I did and what many others still with us did, and more importantly, some of the legends that are either still there or have gone through our ranks in the past. There were a lot of heavy, hard yards in the early days. Our very first office was gigantic compared to the fact that we only had four of us in it, including our first official employee, Marie Sinclair, who celebrates 30 years of service the same day we celebrate 30 years of Bartercard's history. So you're a legend, Marie. Um, Obviously, I had a company when we started Bartercard, Precision Financial Services. Those who don't know, when I formed the actual company the year before, in 1990, and then we started operations on the 8th of February, 1991. For you millennials, this is before the internet was commercialised, so there was no internet. We didn't know, despite Mackey's insistence, we didn't use carrier pigeons, even though down the Lismore. But look, the reality is it was a lot of challenging, hard yards, and we did a lot of things that no one had ever done before. We introduced the first card that had ever been done in the barter industry. That alone was a revolution because everything was being done through vouchers, and those vouchers were more like a checkbook. So they were effectively over-the-counter transactions. In my sector I'm in today, I call those OTC trades. The reality is that we created something so unique that we were able to sell it. But the real thing that made the difference was the three pillars of Bartercard. Without sales, we can't produce the volume of opportunity that we do. The legendary salespeople, and what a list this is. We've got multiple salespeople here who've signed in more clients, more new members than some exchanges have been going for longer than us have in total. Stevie Mills, Michael Thine, Kevin Deanoff, Rod Bryant, Daryl Thoreau, the list goes on. The legendary Raj, of course, is more legendary for his post-sales activity, probably, than his actual sales, although he still makes the top 10. Got him, mate. And I'm sure he still remembers his first open heart surgery rehash at one of our sales conferences. These guys couldn't have done what they did without admin support. Right? I look at this list: Marie, 30 years, Andrew Barker, Justine, Stevie Quinn, Ross Oakhill, Kelly Kennedy, Michael Thine, Raj Pathak, Dom Blewett, all over 25 years with the company. They're not all admin, obviously. Some of them might actually sell stuff. Awesome. But administration was an important part of what I brought to the table to make a difference for us, because every other company was sales, trading was all done, and admin was all being done by the same people. The trading is something that the trade coordinators, having people separately that were servicing the client to stimulate trade, that's the third pillar. And I look at that list. Nicole Whelan, 93 million. Colin McCulloch, 89 million. Katinka, 86 million. The list goes on. You guys will get those lists and, of course, the recognition that you deserve. Fabulous, sensational results. Part of what I want to talk about is how tough that was in the early days. Signing the very first client, as you can imagine, was a challenging exercise. I can remember doing it. We'd already created the sales track, and if you don't know what the sales track is, I don't know why you're sitting at that table. That's the bedrock of what made Bartercard sales happen, and then all the other things are what we delivered, what we said in the sales presentation that we would do. The reality is that without all three of those parts of the business, we wouldn't have ever got to where we were and or be where we are today. So you guys that have joined the company in the recent years, you're standing on the shoulders of giants. We can't forget the international people. They may or may not be here and participating in this particular event, but I will never forget how important they were. Our first New Zealand licensee, which was, guys wanted to buy a franchise, and we were advertising. Well, we weren't even advertising; we were getting free advertising because the investigators thought we were a great business, so we used that for promotion. It was just incredible to see that balloon into such big opportunity, as was the same thing that happened in multiple other countries around the world. At our peak, we had 136 offices. It was heavy, hard yards. I've got 2 divorces to prove that. So the reality is that without all of the commitment from those international licensees as well, and what they brought back to Australia, then I don't know whether we would have got where we did either. The guys in Thailand, Graham Brain, Woodsy, legends. I mean, I was so pleased when I convinced John Woods to go to Thailand, and I was so pleased that Graham agreed to take him. New Zealand operation, we sold the license, we bought it back, we took it over, we ran it, we sold it again, we bought it back again. I mean, many changes, but it's continued to power along and be a bedrock of the overall global success. The UK operations, well, as you probably know, in 2001 I moved to the UK after we failed tragically in America, under my watch, I might add. And the US market's been a stumbling block for us, and we've wasted a lot of resources for many years. There are other markets that have been sensational. The Thailand operation, for example, how many conferences did we have there? How many clients have been there on holiday? How many businesses have interacted with the Thai guys? Unbelievable. The UK operation at one point was sensational, gigantic. Unfortunate that things like Mike Timoney came out of that. But overall, the UK operation was sensational until the last recent years. For those of you who don't know, a lot of the guys who were legends at Bartercard in the UK are now running a very successful competitor in the UK to Bartercard. And John Attridge is one of the guys who will go down in the history of this company, because they originally had Queensland Trade Exchange, which was not far from our office. I didn't even know they existed when we set up Bartercard, frankly. And we ended up acquiring that company. John came to work for us in Bartercard in Australia, and then he ended up moving to the UK. And now, unfortunately, he's left and runs a competitor, but he's highly successful and still as committed as ever. The thing I love most about what we did with Bartercard then, and what I believe has influenced so many businesses, was trade shows, trade events, networking events, all the things where people came together and met each other and talked and exchanged ideas. Small to medium business is a lonely business, right? And, even without the idiotic COVID lockdown stuff that goes on, it's still lonely. And this is an opportunity for them to network with their peers and basically just, feel like they had someone else to talk to, had business challenges, even though they may or may not have been in competition. Maybe they're even in the same business sector in many cases. Within the company, over the 30 years, there have been bonds formed. Some of them marriage bonds, some of them friendship bonds. Some of our franchisees now are, run by people who met through Bartercard and got married and lived happy ever after, and still do. It's just fantastic. I mean, obviously, without Andrew and Brian and Marie, none of this would have happened, right? And of course, I might have put up the main financial resources and built a lot of the trading and sales ideas, but the reality is they were the doers in the hard yards in the early days, when we were the corporate removalists. And I've lost count how many times I had to move office dressed in a suit and tie so we could go straight back to work as soon as we'd moved. there were financially tough times. I can remember having to, go and draw cash out of my credit card to pay wages and stuff like this back in the early days. I mean, it was not easy. The risks were incredible, immense, and constant. The reality is that today you've got still a huge opportunity. The sector has not finished its growth opportunity, and frankly, I'm very excited to know that people are still selling the Bartercard part of this business, not just that other thing. So the reality is that where we've got to go from here is really where we've already been. There's opportunity all over the world. There's opportunity all throughout Australia. There's a lot of businesses that only know what they're told today, and there's a lot of fantastic trading opportunities yet to come. For me, what I remember most is how all those bonds were built. The clients are still in contact with each other or with people that they work with at Bartercard. The people who were at Bartercard are still there or come back. Our first supermodel receptionist, Geordie's back. Yay! It's so much fun if you work hard, you play hard, and you make sure the business is successful. The most important thing ever was we delivered what we said we would. And as a result, no one ever complained about the fees. I remember when Queensland Trade Exchange discounted their fees and everyone started contacting us. So you know what we did? We put them up and we increased our service. And we won that battle. Why? Because we did a better job delivering better service. Without the top elite salespeople, of course, none of that would happen because you wouldn't have any customers to service. And without admin, you wouldn't have that either. So that's the three pillars that built Bartercard and will continue to maintain its ongoing development for years to come. Now, I've moved on, as you all know. I sold out in 2 phases and was effectively banned by my former partner, Brian. So I just got on with something else. I've built another global business, imagine my surprise, in the carbon trading business, carbon trade exchange. The reality is that we're trying to do exactly the same thing today that we did back then when we built Bartercard in the first place. So you who've been there a long time, all you guys on this list that Justine sent to me, you should be immensely proud of your achievements. And I look forward to hearing about the recognition that you got this evening. But the real recognition isn't just on the southeast Queensland part of Australia. The real recognition is every part of the business globally. I can remember doing presentations at client events in Lismore, standing on an esky, in Hong Kong, standing on an esky, in London, standing on an esky. There's a theme there somewhere. Eskies, maybe? So look, bottom line is, guys, have a wonderful, fun, fabulous night. Don't forget where we came from, and let's hope we get back to those glory days in the future. But if not, regardless, I'm immensely proud of everyone who helped us get to where we did and where we are today. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.